What are some cheat codes for interacting with certain animals? Cockatoos can be very friendly if you have one's attention. Soft clicking, clucking noises and small head bobs will often result in them dancing and imitating you. Be careful or they might land on your head or shoulders, which has happened to me. I totally read that as cockroaches. As you can probably imagine, this freaked me the frick out. Leave giant birds the heck alone. Would you pet a pea-brained, angry dinosaur? Number. Why they put ostriches, emus, rheas, etc. in petting zoos is a mystery to me. These guys can quickly injure you and there is no single quick tip in dealing with them. If you scratch a cat right above its tail, that is, butt scratches, it can do some weird things. I've seen butt scratches make a cat make those weird talking noises, and then I saw a cat who feverishly licked his own chest. I volunteer at my local animal shelter and there was one cat in there that would love to be scratched there. The only problem was that he would stick his butt way up in the air when you did it and try to tuck head underneath himself. He often lost balance on the shelf he was sitting on and fall. With horses you can blow gently into their nostrils. It's supposedly horseish for saying hi to other horses they like, and if it likes it will blow back and be chill. Have tried it a few times, and they seem to like it, but who knows, it's horses. If you can pick up a chicken, hold its head under one of its wings then rock it like a baby for a minute, then put it in the ground and it will be asleep. You can also put them in a trance by holding their beak against the ground and drawing a line out from their beak with your finger. When you let go of their head they just kind of stare at the ground with their head down. A lot of animals tend to fall asleep once you put them in the ground. Scratch a dog where its back legs can't reach. Keep scratching until its eyes begin to close. Then move to the stomach and hips. Their legs will start kicking automatically and it's hilarious. Also, you will become that dog's best friend. Tummy rubs relax a dog. Obviously don't try it on one that's ready to flip its crap. But if a dog is in distress, a tummy rub is helpful. Saltwater crocodiles. Do not interact. Do not even think about interaction. If they can possibly get to where you are, stay the frick away from the water. There are no cheat codes. There is only death. I have lost 2 friends to crocodiles when I was living in Darwin, NT. Most cats don't like lots of eye contact because they see it as a sign of aggression. Some don't mind, but it depends how domesticated they are. If you're trying to get a cat to come to you, glance at their eyes, then look away. This is also why cats always go to the person who's allergic or dislikes them. You think you're ignoring them by not looking at them. They think you're friendly. Most mammals don't like lots of eye contact. Averting your eyes is one of the best ways to show you're not a threat. Pro tip: turn your whole head away. Most animals don't differentiate between head direction and gaze direction. Rubbing your thumb and pointer finger together in a show me the money way gets animals' attention. Cats, fish, lizards, it's pretty neat. That sounds like you are telling the animal, look what I've got, freaking thumbs. Guess what? You don't. Never ever put your hand out to a parrot unless you understand parrot body language or the bird's handler is available. For what it's worth, I have a Congo African grey, and she can break chicken bones with her beak. Never look at a parrot with both eyes. When a parrot's belly feathers flutter, they are very relaxed. If a parrot's head feathers are down, but the rest of them are up, you are in moderate danger. If a parrot's back feathers are up, you are in grave danger. Parrots are sneaky, manipulative little buggers. Whatever they are doing, bear in mind that it might be a trap. Yelling at a parrot will only make them yell back. Also, they love drama. If you yell at them, they will repeat the behavior so that you will yell again. Common: never look at a parrot with both eyes, so this is why pirates wear eye patches. For example, throwing your hat into the air in an area crowded with pigeons will cause them to all take flight at once. I hope this doesn't get buried cause it works and it's really cool. If you see a herd of deer grazing in a field and you want to get close to them, do not approach them like a hunter would, eyes fixed on them and moving slow. Instead, do what they do and keep your eyes on the ground, milling in a zigzag pattern while pretending to search the ground. They'll think you're a grazer like them and not a threat. Of course, be extremely cautious when you get close, as anything threatening can turn the pack into a stampede of hooves and crap. X. I don't advise this at all, but it is a cheat code that I've seen work. Source: I'm from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, where there are more deer per square foot than rats in New York City. Never try to get near a herd of sheep in the wild, because sheepdogs are quite protective. That being said, if you ever have to walk through a herd of confined sheep without making them shy away, walk backwards through the herd. They will calmly stream around both sides of you. Why? Because sheep are very stupid creatures. Grew up around a lot of animals, so flies always jump essentially straight up and forward as you go to slap them, and they're faster than you. Clap above them about 6 inches to compensate. Ever try to catch a frog? Same thing. Get behind them, lean over, and be ready to catch 6 inches to a foot ahead of them as they jump away. If you need to pick up a turtle, approach from the rear and grab it on the sides of its shell. Warning: it will pee on you and scratch while trying to reach around and bite you. Generally, they can't bite past their front legs. Crabs are the same tactic. Approach from the rear and pinch in the center rear. Grab them by the butt. They'll squirm and stretch, but they can't get you. Always keep your hand on a horse so they know where you are. Goats headbutt to establish dominance pecking order. Square up the them, hold your ground, and let them headbutt the heel of your boot. They're going to hit pretty hard, so be ready, as you're essentially kicking them in the top of the head. You won't hurt them. They're literally designed for it. When you don't budge, they know who's boss. I've done this since I was 8 or 10, but it's easier the bigger you are. Smaller dog thinks he's the boss. Coming after you guests, do what the pack leader does. Grab him by the scruff, push his head down, roll him, and hold him by the neck. Bare your teeth and stare at him. If he's still freaking, you can hold him as long as necessary. Almost all of the time, they stop immediately. This is how dogs win fights. Kicking, hitting, smacking dogs is not something they understand and is just plain abusive, and likely to make them even more aggressive. Doesn't work on big dogs. Too much potential to actually be hurt. In dog packs, alpha eats first. Humans should eat first. Dog gets food after human dinner is over. If you're feeding your dog before yourself, you send quite a message. Cat claws only work one way: if they're latched to your clothes, or you pull them forward to release. This is why cats can't climb down trees head first and get stuck on occasion. Snakes are easily distracted by motion. Wiggle the left hand far out while you grab the tail with the right, and start walking away. Watch almost anyone working with snakes. You'll see them do similar. Obviously, avoid touching snakes at all costs unless you know what it is and what you're doing. Ever lose a hamster mouse? Take a steep bowl or low bucket, and stack books around it like a little spiral staircase. Put some peanut butter on a cracker and a small dish of water in the bottom. They'll be in there scratching to get out before you know it. Don't mess with birds. Any bird, even canaries, just don't. Don't approach deer and similar horned wild animals. Generally, they run away before you get the chance. If they don't, chances are they're guarding babies or territory. They're very good guards. When I was a kid, a goat walked up to me as soon as I closed the back door behind me, then proceeded to pin me to the door with its head. Sucker. Dolphins love children crazy amounts, so if you are going to go swimming with them or feed them, bring a child. When boxing with a kangaroo, they usually lack the strategy to do more than interchange punching arms, so you can easily use this to your advantage. If you spray a spider with hairspray deodorant, then it won't be able to move, but you can beat it to death easier. Feed them. Bring a child. Sorry Timmy, I really want to see this dolphin. If you're allergic to cats, try to show them you're interested, but keep your body language to them. They tend to focus on interested people because you're relaxed and seem like a cool guy. Source: have an allergy to cats and every time I ignore them they come at me bruh. That's because cats view direct eye contact as a threat. If you want a cat to leave you alone, stare at it directly. On the flip side, if you want to befriend a cat, look at it, then look away. It will notice you looking away and understand you don't want to attack it. Bonus: cat kisses. Look at a cat briefly, then do a double blink. It will likely do the same back at you. Throw a peanut at a squirrel. He might get scared, but then he will check it out and eat it. Throw peanuts closer and closer to you one at a time, waiting for the squirrel to find each one and come back. Make a noise every time he picks up and eats the peanut. Eventually you can get the squirrel to take a peanut next to your hand, without your hand moving. Keep making your sound and throw the peanut in front of you and hold it. Try not to get bit by the nervous squirrel. Works with other animals too. And as soon it gets comfortable with you, throw that peanut in a pot. When the squirrel enters, smack the lid on. Dinner's served. If attacked by a shark, punch them firmly in the snout. If that doesn't work, poke them in the eye with your stump. Only punch them if the shark attacks you first. Otherwise you're just being a dong punching random sharks. If you do end up being attacked by a dog, offer your forearm. Do this because not only will you be able to control the position of the dog so it doesn't bite a more dangerous area, but if the dog has latched on, use your free arm to push the back of its head into the bitten arm while pushing your bitten arm further back into the dog's mouth. This will make the dog let go. Edit. Words. With dogs, always let them smell the back of your hand when you approach them. Never go straight for the pat on the head. Some dogs see this as a threat and will become aggressive. Letting them smell the back of the hand lets them know you're cool. If you're being attacked by an alligator and you have a gun, aim it in the mouth before pulling the trigger, because if you try to shoot yourself any other way you're likely to miss. This is very bad advice for killing yourself. What you really want to do is put the gun just above your ear. If you put it in your mouth, there's a decent chance the bullet will just go through the back of your throat, leaving you wounded and about to be torn apart by an alligator. Above the ear is almost guaranteed death. If you own Black Labrador, feed it to the point of obesity, attach black flippers to its legs and then smear Vaseline all over its coat. Voila, you now have a pet seal. Water buffalo. Extend your arm and hand out with index and pinky fingers out and hum to yourself. The buffalo will roll over and fall asleep. Source: Crocodile Dundee. If you ever see a horse yawning, try to touch its nose right between the nostrils. This forces the horse to yawn again. You can repeat this process indefinitely. Do not stand behind a black bear when he is backing up. They have terrible blind spots and very poor insurance coverage. I feel like this is slightly racist. I remember this one day when my friend came over to my house. We were about 10, and we decided we would have some fun with my two dogs, a St. Bernard and a Husky. We both tried to see if we could figure out dog language and see what certain words mean to dogs. We got a notepad and a pen and we went and sat in front of my dogs. We started saying random dog sounds to them, such as woof and bow wow and arf and stuff like that, to see how they reacted. I remembered they started running around, and we said bow wow and they stopped dead in their tracks. We looked at each other. We now knew bow wow meant stop. Another time, we tried arf and they started jumping up to us. We now knew arf meant jump. This carried on for so long, and eventually we tried to piece words together to talk to the dogs in full sentences. We thought we had finally figured out dog language. Now, I think about it and have a chuckle, but back then, when we were 10, it was the most scientific thing ever. Rub chicken livers all over your face, chest and genitals, and lie down naked in the woods. Many animals will then approach. Rub chicken liver all over your genitals. Till how to get an animal BJ. Treat animals like children. They will simultaneously trust you and respect you. Treat children like adults. Every child wants validation, and doing this teaches them their thoughts and feelings actually matter. Be socially awkward around adults, because you're not sure how to scale this up further, but realize it doesn't matter because most adults are too self-centered to notice and will like you because you listen to them ramble, and the others are kind enough to notice what you're doing and respond appropriately. Cheat code for all social interactions. The other day I went meow 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 to a cat I was passing and it could not love me up enough. Coincidence? I think not. I think he told it what it needed to hear. Not really into, but might help. If your dog runs away from you, run on the opposite direction and get their attention. They will come back to you. Sometimes you will get other people's dogs too. Horses and humans have similar tastes when it comes to treats. They often like sugar cubes, dried fruit, and even jelly beans. Like humans, They shouldn't have a lot of sugary treats in their diet, but it's a great way to bond if you're meeting a horse for the first time or visiting a stable. Give a horse a few little treats and he'll remember you in a positive light. D. If you're trying to put a bridle on a horse and it won't let you, hold a little treat on your palm under the bit. He'll open his mouth to get the treat and voila, you can get the bridle on. There's also a part of their gums toward the back of their mouth where there's no teeth, and if you put your finger there they'll usually open their mouth. If you don't have any treats, I prefer to give them treats. Haha. Also, if you have to walk behind a horse, don't just jump behind it. One of horses' blind spots is right behind their butts, and they don't like being surprised by people in that area. If you're walking around behind a horse, put your hand on its side and slide your hand around in front of you along its back. So basically your hand will start out next to you and end up on the other side before you do, so the horse can feel where you are. Also, if the horse tries to kick backwards when your hand starts to move behind it, you know not to even try to go around that way. Horse kicks hurt. Oh, and my favorite, if you're petting a horse, try gently tickling right behind the soft part of his chin, right where the soft part under the lip meets the rest of his head. I've found most horses will start making really funny faces when I pet them there. It's adorable. Black bears. Very timid creatures actually. They don't understand they can rip you to shreds and behave like weaker creatures. If you see one rooting through your garbage, go scream at them and be loud about it. And following them a little as they run away will get the point across that they shouldn't come back. And they usually won't. This trick has never failed me. I know little kids who do this. However, if they have cubs, back the frick off. They will go after you with a vengeance. If you ever come face to face with a black bear who is aggressive, they will do a sort of stomp forward to you that will make you think he's about to charge. Don't show fear and fight the urge to begin running away. Don't bother, they will outrun you. This is a bear's way to test you. Walk away like you don't give a frick. If you got a big time bear problem on your property or WE, a lot of the time bears and other creatures will mark territory, usually by ripping up trees. You'll know it when you see it. Not a joke. Get spit, sweat or pee on this spot. Fish, catfish absolutely freaking love Cheez-Its. A good way to easily catch cat is to go right after dusk to a dock where it's the warmest with light and throw Cheez-Its in the water and then throw a net. If you plan on going fishing, don't brush your teeth for a day or eat something pungent. Then spit on your bait. This trick works extremely well. It's easy to spit on bait all day long. Don't go noodling. Snapping turtles will take a hand off. Try not to get involved with a snapping turtle. They are cunty sassy creatures who'll fight easily. They can't take a hand or foot off in one bite and they run extremely fast. Don't pick it up at all. The neck can actually stretch up and round its shell. If you absolutely insist on fishing for snapping turtles, use large alligator hooks with chicken wings, with big steel line and try at a swamp. Just put it out there in the afternoon and come back in the early morning when they feed the most, 3, 4, 5 am. Let them crap in a bucket for a couple of days and then shoot them in the head with a .22. Deer. If you're driving and a deer jumps out in the street or is off to the side, lay on your horn. This will spook them. Keep blowing the horn for a good distance because more times than not they actually run in packs. Snakes. The only good trick I got about snakes is if they're a problem where you are. They are the weakest when they are soaking up the sun. Do something about them then. If you cough loudly and the cow's ears don't twitch much, it's a good sign that the heifer is concentrating on a good hand. It's wise to come with a bluff or fold if you have a weak hand at this point. Note, for a bull, the answer is reversed. If you cough loudly and the bull's ears don't twitch much, it's a good sign that the bull is preparing to charge. There is a specific dog laugh that signals to other dogs that it's playtime. If you are around a dog who isn't too tired or in any distress, making this sound will get them hyped up and into play mode. The laugh is actually a kind of short, repeated pant with a soft rolling jar sound like you are stuttering trying to say something in Spanish like jalapenos. It's very similar to the "oh frick these fries are too hot and they are burning my mouth but I can't spit them out so I'm going to make a weird panting noise to try and cool my mouth down" sound. If you do that and gently slap your hands down on the ground or on an object nearby, or you bob your head like a cockatoo once or twice, then it's on like Donkey Kong. Macaws. Large parrots. They are incredibly intelligent but are not domesticated. They are a wild animal, so they have no innate desire to behave or do what you ask. They're smart enough to understand what they're supposed to and not supposed to do. But the other side of the coin is they also have the intelligence to decide not to do what you ask them. Biting. Let the bird bite and pick it up anyway. It will soon realize biting carries no advantage and they will stop doing it, particularly if paired with neg reinforcement. I hold onto the bird's beak and say no very sternly. They find this extremely annoying and quickly realize biting will only inconvenience themselves. Note: some birds like to be left alone while napping, eating, waking up in the morning, etc. So I don't feel it's right to pick my bird up when I know he doesn't like it. I call that setting them up to fail. They are wild animals, so it's unreasonable to expect them to behave perfectly 100% of the time. I don't think it's fair to bring a wild animal into my home and punish it all the time for being wild. But if the bird is biting to the point it's not easy to handle them in general, that's a problem that needs correcting. It's a detriment to the bird's safety if it can't be handled or if it gets extremely stressed whenever it's handled. Screaming. Perhaps the bird needs food or water or wants to be with you. Make sure the bird has food and water available to it all the time and don't give it food when it screams. That only teaches it screaming is the way to get food. If the bird screams for attention, take it farther away when it screams for a timeout. It'll learn screaming gets it the opposite of what it wants. Lavish attention if the bird is quiet or if it speaks for attention. I encourage speaking instead of screaming. Throwing food out of bowl. Don't keep refilling the bowl all day. Just fill it once a day and the bird will immediately notice it needs to keep the food in the bowl so it has something to eat. Chewing perch. We kept replacing perches until my bird chewed through his while standing on it. He never chewed his perch again. TLDR, birds need to know what's in it for them. If they do a neg behavior, react in the opposite way they expect want. Keep in mind birds are not a domesticated pet. They are at best a tamed wild animal. Behavior will never be 100% perfect. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.